Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this Bally XENON masterpiece of a pinball machine here for our buddy Frank. And in the last video, we worked on the lights a little bit. We worked on one of the eject holes a little bit, and then we figured out that it's got some sound issues, obviously, and it has some switch issues. So that's what we're going to be working on today. If you've got a XENON and you've got switch issues, can't talk today. What's up with that? And you've got switch issues, too many S's, then this may be for you. And then also, we need to get the sound sounding better. All right, so the switches, the thing is, whenever you play the game, whenever you hit the flippers, it does random scoring. So usually when that happens, you've got a problem with a vibration thing where there's a switch that's really close, and when you hit the flipper, it's a violent thing, and it goes gung, and it shakes the switch a little bit somewhere on the playfield and makes it close. So it could be that, but it looked like at the end of the video we were figuring out that there was something going on, possibly with the switch matrix or something. So I don't know. So we're going to go check that out though. So let's go into test mode and put it in switch test. So if you open up a Bally, on the coin door there is a test button. You hit it one time and it will do all of the lights. Okay. I believe we still got all them working. So that's good. Yeah, looks like they're all working. Okay, and then you hit it again and it will do a display test. Now you'll notice that it's also making some of the lamps blink. That's because there is an auxiliary lamp board in XENON. And it has something to do with the lines that they run the displays with, so it'll do stuff like that. That doesn't mean anything's wrong. They also have LEDs in this particular machine, so that sometimes will make things do weird stuff too. But that's fine. It's not hurting anything. Next one is the coil test. Might get some sounds here too. Nope, no sounds on the coil test on this one. Okay. Now I don't know. I think that may be a sound test. There we go. And so I believe this is a switch test. It's saying number 3, 03. So I don't know what 03 would be. Let's try hitting a different one to see if we get anything. We're just getting a 3. Let me look in the manual. If you have a problem you run into, always a good idea to read the manual. So let's make sure that I'm on the right test and what 03 means. All right, you hear it in the background still complaining. Game self-diagnostic test. Pressing the self-test button inside the door initiates the self-test routine. Pressing the self-test, all switch lamps flash off and on continuously. Pressing the self-test button again causes each digital on each display to cycle from 0 through 9 and repeat continuously. Pressing the self-test button again causes each solenoid to be energized one at a time, so we did that. Pressing self-test button again causes the sound module to play the game over tune repeatedly. So it was playing something. I don't know if it's a game over tune, but we're not doing sound yet. We got to do switches first. Pressing the self-test button again causes the MPU to search each switch assembly for stuck contacts. If any are found, the number of the first set encountered is flashed on the player score displays. So we're getting a 03 flashing. So that's the first stuck switch that it has found. The number remains until the fault is cleared. So whenever I pressed another one, it wouldn't tell me the other one because it's still going to say 03 as long as that's stuck. See page 17 for help in stuck switch identification. Other numbers may follow if more stuck contacts are present. If there are no stuck switches, the match ball and play display flashes 0. Okay, so we need to go to page 17. Here we go. We're going down. All right, here we are, folks. We have found the switch assembly. Number 3 is the upper side target. Okay, it must be stuck. Let's go see if it's stuck. So here is the upper side target, and it's hard to see. But wouldn't you know it? Went too far, folks. We went too far. We got to go back out. Boy, look at that auto-focusing fighting for it. Boom, it's stuck. Should have known. All right, let me see if I can spread that apart a little bit with a little screwdriver or this little file. Okay, so I spread it apart, now it's on 21. If I hit the switch again, I get my 3 back. So that tells you that it's fixed, right? So now we need to go find number 21. Okay, so number 21 is the number 4 drop target. As you can see, all the drop targets are down. This game has memory drop targets, so the game itself can drop the drop targets individually. So whenever we did the solenoid test, it was going through and doing all of that. And so it has dropped all of them. At the beginning of the game, it pops them back up though. So I'm going to reach in and reset all of those, and let's see if that clears up number 21 for us. Because, I mean, it should be telling us 21 stuck. The drop target's actually down. Okay, so putting those back up has cleared us up, and now we just have a 0. All right, but I'm going to go through and test all of them just to see if all of them are working too. Number 4, 30, 29, 36, got some stuff. It about bit me. 35, but that's dirty, so those need to be cleaned. Okay. 32, 31, 25. We won't mess with the drop target yet. Spinner. That's number 5. 37, 38, 39, 40. Done there. 26. Also 26. One's not working. 19. These things are real temperamental, these little rollover buttons. It's probably just misadjusted. They have to be really close. It's hard to get them just right. 1, 3, and 4. 34. 33. 27. 1. That's about all of them. Might be a couple more that I missed, but I think that's about it. Yeah. Okay, so now we can try drop targets. 24, 23, 22, and 21. There's trough switches, but we kind of know those work already. So it looks like all the switches work fine, with the exception of a few of those rollovers at the top, and the kickers need to be cleaned. Let's try a game again to see if we fixed our vibration thing with the flippers. All right, so we'll start a game. Whoop. Need credits. Well, if I can, oh, there we go. Oh. You can hear how bad the sound is. It's coming, folks. We'll fix it. All right, it found them. We're good. All right, so when it hits that, it knows that it's left the out lane. I mean the shooter lane. Okay, we have 1,000 points. Frank, we fixed your scoring problem, buddy. It was that switch. It was that one right there. It was that one, Frank. Alrighty, so I think we fixed that. Let's check out those ones on the top that I was saying need adjustment. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, we're still in gameplay. I just carefully lifted it up. Now when you do this, take the balls out or you'll regret it because they always fall. And then make sure you're pretty steep because all of this junk on the bottom of the playfield will make that damn thing fall back and kill you. Almost killed me once. Be careful. Be careful, folks. Okay, so here are the little rollovers. These are special little things that just have a little tiny bit of movement. You see how that is? So I'm gonna push that one and you can see just how it doesn't move very much. See how it's not quite touching it? I mean, it is a little bit, but if the contact's dirty and it's just barely touching it, that's not gonna work. So you gotta get that thing adjusted really freaking close or it's not gonna score. Now see the little bent blade there in the middle? And how it's kind of touching, you know? So it's kind of trying to do its thing, but we need to get that a little better and get those contacts clean. So I'll do that and then we'll test them again. Okay. So you get dial tones. So this is the same one we were just looking at, I believe. That's how it needs to be, people. Okay, so I think we've got the switches doing their thing. I'm gonna play it a little bit, just see if anything else pops out at me. And then we've got to work on the sound. Now, I believe the actual background music is fine. It's all of the synthesized, like the woman's voice and stuff. That's not right. Like XENON. Very crackly. We're getting no extra points. So that's good. Oh, I cleaned the kicker switches too. I forgot about the ramp shot. I don't like that. The end lanes are a little bent a little weird. We'll have to work on that just a little bit. Maybe bend those a little straighter. Ooh. Did you see how the drop targets, they drop themselves? They call those memory targets. They're wonderful. Stern was the first one to do those. XENON! Kickers are much better. They're just doing that to tease you at the end of the game. Okay. It's playing pretty good. There may still be a little bit of stuff, but we need to get that sound fixed. So, onward to the vocalizer board. All right, folks. So how are we ever going to figure out what the sound problem is? Now, I'm no expert, but we're going to figure it out. This is the Sounds Plus module, they called it. Okay. So here's how you figure it out. You work backwards, okay? So to the loudspeaker. So that's literally where they plug in the speaker. Okay, and so if you work back, if you look, it runs through the amp, which is a TDA 2002. That's the little tiny amplifier that works on this. And then look right here. You have this line here. You have this line here coming to what they're calling the speech control. And then the feed for it comes from what they're calling analog signal, which runs off the soundboard. So the way this thing is made is there is a soundboard and then there is a voice board, the vocalizer board. So this analog signal here is coming from the vocalizer board, going to a thing called speech control, and then being mixed into the amp. Well, clearly that's where the speech is coming from. Then we have the speech data and a speech clock line that run over here up to a 6820, 6821 PIA chip. Okay? So that's basically, that chip is controlling what the soundboard does with the EEPROMs on the soundboard, but the analog signal is coming back here. Well, it sounds like it's playing the right stuff, it just doesn't sound very good. Analog signal. Right? If it wasn't playing or it was playing the wrong stuff, it might be something on that board that has to do with the ROMs or whatever. On this particular generation of stuff, if you're missing entire words, like they're saying things and like there's a word missing in the middle, a lot of times it's because there's an EEPROM screwed up. Okay, but if you go farther back, before that speech gets mixed in, look, it keeps going. Now we're working backwards, right? And this says volume. There's a LM3900, that's a preamp. And back before this, we have a signal coming from an AY3 8910, which is an old school audio chip that's used in a lot of arcade games. Donkey Kong, I think, uses the same chip. AY3-8910. Now, the way this thing works is it's controlled by solenoids from the MPU. It uses the solenoid lines. It just tells this what to do. There's a data line here that connects up to the EEPROMs and all of that stuff, where it's software controlled, basically. But here's the outputs. There are 3 channels that can output on this chip, but if you look, they've got them all 3 tied together. Okay? All 3 of them tie together and lead into what we were just looking at. So that's the source of all of the digital music, like dunk, 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 all that stuff we're hearing. That's this chip doing all that. All of the speech, which seems to be the problem, is coming from the other board through here. Now, whenever you're getting garbled stuff, it's usually a capacitor. It looks like that board's been capped before, though. We're about to pull it out and see. But if you look, the speech runs right through a capacitor right before it's mixed. I mean, right before it goes into the amp. That's highly suspect right there, folks. That's the one right there that's highly... That one there. That one's highly... Come on, people. Come on. If all this works, and this... If the sound... Come on now. If all the speech goes through... We're only having a problem with the speech. If all of the speech goes through there, it's probably there. Come on now. Come on, people. We can figure this out. Come on now. All right, so there is the Sounds Plus module. Look how it's had all the caps replaced. But it hasn't had all of the caps replaced. What is this? What? C25. What? That one hasn't been replaced, you say? We'll look into that. And here is the vocalizer module. So this does all of the voices. Now it, has to create that analog section that it was showing, which is going to be this down here. And it's been reworked as well. So it could be something down there too, right? But we're going to start with the actual soundboard first. Now Joe said that he already looked at this a little bit and he left us a note inside of it. He already diagnosed it. So, come on, Joe. Joe. Okay. This got to stop, people. Come on now. Come on, Joe. Okay, so I have pulled out the Sounds Plus. Like I said, someone has already recapped most of it. So the speech comes in through this capacitor. Now you'll notice that on the schematics it was marked as polarized, and it's even marked on the board as polarized, but it's a non-polar ceramic cap. So the thing with ceramic caps is they don't usually go bad. So it goes through that, hits a little resistor, and then goes into the potentiometer. Now that potentiometer, that could be our problem. Yeah. Since that one's a ceramic, I have changed my guess to it's the freaking pot. Look at it. Look how ugly. Now you probably, if you don't work on these a lot, you probably don't realize that that's a really bad potentiometer. These things suck. They're just crap. That thing's got to go. Oh, it's just made really cheaply. And while I'm at it, that one's got to go too. So I think what I'll do, now this is just for testing purposes, people. They've already replaced the capacitors. A ceramic disc capacitor, I'm going to roll the dice on. So I think all I'll do for now is replace those two and pop it back in, and let's see what happens. Now what is this? Oh, that's cool too. All right, I thought it was a mylar. That's a ceramic as well. So yeah, if I had this just sitting here and was trying to decide what the issues were, the first thing I would look at would be those two. Now, this also has the dreaded LM3900 preamp here. These things are known for going bad, but it only does the music. You saw in the schematics. It doesn't have anything to do with the speech, and the music sounds fine. So you might say, if you're a logical person, you might say, okay, Ron, well, if you're going to replace that speech one, why are you replacing that on the schematics? That one doesn't have anything to do with the speech either. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought it up. It's because that's the exact same thing as that. So we're saying that that's bad, but then we're going to leave one that's just like it on the board? Not on my watch. If that one's died, you know that one's right behind it. These are just really cheap potentiometers, and they don't have 50 years in them, So they're at 42 years. It's about done. About time to put a new one in it. So it's a 1K potentiometer. I'm just going to swap those two, and we'll try it back in the game with just that improvement and see if that changes anything. Okay, so I swapped them out with new ones. Now these are not much better than the other ones. They are sealed off, though, where they don't get as much dust and dirt in them. But same situation. In 42 years, whoever's watching this video on serial number 11985, time to swap them, buddy. I did it in 2022. Now it's your turn, Mr. 2064. Yeah, so we're going to roll the dice on C25. It's a ceramic one. I think it's probably going to be fine, but we'll see. That didn't have nothing to do with it. When he brought it, he said that it was that sound was cutting in and out, which is what it's doing right now. So that's not it. I've got an idea what is it, though. So we'll pull the board back out. All right. So if you looked on the schematics, everything was kind of controlled by this 6821, and look at the legs on it. Hoot and some hairy legs. And then here's the CPU. That's the RAM. That's a new EEPROM. And then here's the sound chip. So what I'm going to do is simply remove those chips, clean the legs, and put them back in the sockets. I think there's something intermittent there. That's my guess, at least. So just so you can see what I'm talking about, look how filthy these legs are. Can power get through that? I don't know. I don't know, folks. Maybe a little bit. And then it turns itself off. So I'm thinking it's an intermittent connection either on this or the 6821. This one looks pretty clean. That one's new. The sound chip looks pretty clean. But I'll pull all of them. Now you might say, well, why didn't you do that a minute ago? Because I'm making a video, people. Come on now. Come on. I'm trying to make it interesting. We now know that that was not the problem when it sounds like it sounds. So let's move on to these. Here we go. Okay, so to quote Paula Abdul, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Okay, so we're in the middle of a game, but I figured it out. If you flex it, it comes back. I don't think it's this connector. I think it's the whole board flexing. So we've got a socket issue. However, that's the 2 steps back. Let me show you the 2 steps forward if I can get it to start again. Let's see. If I can get it to start again. Come on now. I had it do it about 5 times earlier. It may be that. Okay. That's how it's supposed to sound. So it has something to do with this. I may have to resolder this connector, maybe. Could be. Let's try that. Okay, so that ribbon cable, let's see if we can tell if it's the connector or the actual cable. Too far. I won't curse like AVE does. He doesn't like it when things go out of focus. Those don't look that great, but I don't see any that's just jumping out at me. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to resolder all of those. And then we're going to go around to the actual pins. Let's see what these look like right now. I don't know, that all looks decent. Okay, so I'm going to resolder them. We'll do that first. Okay, so our theory is if the ribbon cable loses one of the address lines or data lines, that it kills all the sound. Now, why would it kill all of the sound and not just the sound from the vocalizer? Because it's making the background sound cut out too. It's because of this little jumper. That jumper G right there, you're supposed to put in if you don't have the vocalizer board. So what that does is it ties one of the outputs of the 6821 to the chip select on the EEPROM on the main board, pin 20 there. If you don't have that jumper in, then you need the vocalizer board because that signal comes from off the board over on the vocalizer board. So that line on the vocalizer board appears to be this memory enable line, which is created from this chip by a bunch of the address lines. Okay, folks, I think we're tracking it down. I think I about got it. All right. So when I put it back in, no sound. But then I hit the sound test button, got all of the sounds. Okay? So at that moment, basically the MPU wasn't able to turn on the sounds, but the board itself could if I hit the button. So that means it's a connection problem between the MPU and the soundboard. Okay? And then after playing it for a little bit, sound cut out again. This didn't seem to have anything to do with it. Now remember, whenever you flex the board, you're flexing all kinds of stuff, right? And so then, looking on the schematics, the MPU, the way it turns on the sound, is through this 4049 chip here, and then into the sound chip. Okay, so basically it sends signals through this chip into this chip. So that wasn't working right. Works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, if you hit the button, you're bypassing that chip. You're controlling it without that one, right? You're not turning it on with the same inputs on the sound chip. So I thought, hey, let me swap the sound chip just for giggles. So I swapped one, and it seems to be working really good now. But watch this. So I think the socket on the sound chip is tripping. But the good news is the chick sounds awesome. So we're getting there. I kind of want to turn I want to turn the speech up though. Let me see if I can turn that up. We want more speech than background. Did I go the wrong way? Okay, so that's what the Xenon sound basically all the way up compared to the, I think you can turn the background sounds down with this, actually. There we go, that's going to do it. Okay, so the background sounds are down. That's how you want it. Okay, I'm gonna pull the board out again and put a new socket in that sound chip and see if that gets it where it's sturdy. Okay, folks. So while I was at it, I hated that insulation displacement connector, so I went ahead and replaced it too. And it does not like when you touch that. Not sure what it is, but it's some kind of, there's a bad solder joint somewhere. I wonder if it's one of those vias. It's in the center of the board flexes. I replaced the 4049 too. So it's time to reflow a whole bunch of the board and just see if by accident we find what's making it do it. Crazy. Oh, I tried a different ribbon cable too. Had nothing to do with it. Does the same exact thing. Okay, so now I'm going to take it and I'm going to reflow a lot of these vias that go in between. The new socket on this didn't fix it. So something strange going on. This freaking soundboard is driving me crazy. I want you to look at this. Okay, now watch how hardly anything moves but this little section of the board. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm moving it a millimeter for our European friends. What in the hell is that? Got to be a bad trace. It's got to be. But I keep looking and I cannot see a bad trace. All right, I got to go look at it again. It's got to be something right in this freaking corner of the board. That's nuts. Look, I can do it over and over again. It's barely moving this, but I'm trying not to. I can almost play it like a theremin. You know, all the fun things in life are free, people. I mean, I'm getting paid to do this, but every time you find out something really cool in life, it comes to you free. Okay, so the area I was flexing was this area right here. So this board, this is where it sends the signal in, and then it sends it through these pins to these little resistors. To these resistors, which run to this 4049 that they're using as a hex inverter buffer. There you go. But I was just looking. I didn't solder that. Our buddy Frank did. Now, Frank, I'm not going to criticize your soldering skills, but I think there may be a bad connection on one of those solder joints. So I'm going to remove the solder and see if the trace is screwed up under there or something. And then if you look over here, see how just above the resistors there are little cracks in the, or little scrapes on the traces? It could be that too. So I believe the way this thing works, I don't know for sure, but it's using the solenoid lines. And if you check it with a logic probe, there's a little pulse every once in a while, right? So it's sending some kind of signal, and it may be that it needs a signal on all 4 of those lines. In the manual, it says there's 5 lines, but there's really only 4. One of them's not hooked up to anything. I believe it's on pin 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That might not be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That might not be right. But one of these doesn't actually do anything. So there's solenoid line A, B, C, D, and E. But E isn't always used or something like that. I don't know. I may be wrong. But I'm gonna take the solder off of this and check out this connector. We may just need to swap the whole connector. So that's my next guess. Well, the bottom looked okay, but the top, this trace is broke. I don't know if I did it or he did it though. So I'm gonna clean this up, put a new connector on it. Whoop. Of course, I haven't cleaned that up yet. It's just taking the solder off. But I don't see any broken traces leading up to here. So, but I'll clean that up real good and test it with a multimeter and all that. I'll show you what it looks like with the new trace on it. For this one where it's, where it's broke here, what you can do is, if you've got enough room, and usually you do, to get the pin through the hole, you can put an extra, like a cap leg or something up, solder it to the trace, and then through the hole, and then whenever you solder it on the back, it'll make sure that solder flows up to the top, and also that you got a good solid connection to that trace. You could also run a jumper wire if you needed to. All right, it's been making this suspenseful music for 30 minutes with no problems. See, he said it was intermittent, so I gotta watch it for a while, right? Let's see. If it does this thing again, I don't know what. Come on, people. Come on now. Now, you might wonder, why do I care if you have to push on it? Just don't do that, right? But he's going to pick it up and take it to his house. And what if it breaks again at his house? I'm almost afraid to touch it. That's it, Joe. We fixed it, Joe. Hey, we fixed it. All right, so now we got to test play a game to make sure that it doesn't cut out in the middle of a game. I'm going to turn it way up. Okay, we're going to test it a little bit. Didn't hit that switch. Ow, ow. Oop. Missed it. Oh, missed it again. Oh, almost got the bounce. Missed it. I think we might be sitting a little... I'm gonna blame the level. Frank doesn't have it level enough. Try tube shot. I'll try. I gotta mess with that in lane. Missed the tube shot. Need to get the spinner. Boy, the lights are going now. You ought to see the back glass. You'll just have to trust me. It's going nuts. Lock that one. Hey, I locked the ball, Joe. Joe gets excited whenever we finish one. Still needs a little work, Joe.
'Cause then we get the money.
Yeah, Joey's all about the money, the cheddar. Needs a few little playability adjustments.
That needs tweak. I saw that.
But all in all, it's doing pretty good.
How y'all doing?
How's it going?
Good.
Did I lock the other one? What happened? I was distracted. I was distracted. It went down, people. All right, that's 4. Ball 4. All right, folks, so we're going to do another video where we play through it and show off the art and all of that. But for now, I think we've got it repaired, so, or most of it repaired. We'll do some little minor tweaks, but that soundboard issue took forever. So leave your comments down below.
Well, who can wait?
Well, they were happy.
Right in the middle of the video.
Oh, well.
We had the quartet come in.
Yeah. And they weren't even singing a cool song.
Yep.
They could have gave us a little bit of Mr. Speedo or something, but no.
They needed more
Bop,
practice.
bop, doop, doop.
They needed more practice.
All right. So leave your comments. It didn't hit the switch. It doesn't like it when it doesn't hit that switch. So leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think so far. Whoop. I'm happy to hear the sounds back. It's the in lane, Joe. It's that right there. It's messing me all up. I was doing great till that. That messed me up. See how it bounced? You don't want it to bounce. You want it to flow smoothly.
He wasn't so bent there.
I don't know. He's been messing with it. When he dropped it off, you didn't mention that to him?
No.
You should have said, hey, Frank, let me point out something to you, buddy. Come on now. Come on now, Frank. What are you doing here?
But I don't even ask him what's wrong with it anymore. It's broke.
All right, so thank you for everybody that's been supporting our channel, too, by using our Amazon links. If you don't know about that, down below there is a link to Amazon. If you click that, it'll take you to Amazon, so whenever you go buy your Porsche, if you buy it on Amazon, it gives us 3% or something like that. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. And last but not least, try XENON and check out my brother Donnie. My brother has a channel here on YouTube. We work on pinball machines, arcade games, and jukeboxes. He works on old vehicles and old buildings, things like that. A fun time is had by all. So we'll see you over there. But we'll do another video of this where we play through it and spend a little more time with it because it's such a nice game. See you then.